Without further ado, thank you.
Awesome.
Turn it over to you.
Yeah, well, thank you everyone for being here, and I just want to take this time to thank Michael Anlauer, Steve Staios, the whole management crew, every coach that I've played for, the staff, teammates, and the fan base. Just want to say thank you for those 8 years. It came in as a 19-year-old, and became a husband in that time. A father of two, and it was very formative years in my life. So they always have a piece of my heart, and just want to thank Bill, the Viola family, and everybody here for believing in me, and I'm really excited for this new chapter.
I think we'll open it up to questions.
I have one for Brady and one for Brady. Jameson Olive, FloridaPanthers.com. Welcome to the Panthers. First for yourself, just what has this last 24 hours been like just with the trade and your dad to the Hall of Fame? It seems like, I saw your dad said it was a great weekend for the Tkachuk. Just kind of take us through how everything went down.
Well, yeah, it was a great Father's Day. It started with Millie's, Matthew's daughter's baptism into a brunch, and then I was off my phone for 5 minutes when it happened. We're doing family pictures, and from then on, it just couldn't believe it. It's just, and I know I'm going to need a couple days after this just regroup and just really, think about everything that has happened. And I just can't believe it's real, and it's been amazing. And the next day, having Big Walt be in the Hall of Fame, and the way that he told us he was going to wait us out and not tell anybody until the announcement. That was going to be the surprise, but now he couldn't do it, so he told us, and it just, that was just such a dream to be a part of too. All his work, and I know we see him as a dad, but just to see him get rewarded for him as a player was pretty amazing too.
Brady, welcome. Tim Reynolds with the Associated Press. I have one for you and one for Bill as well. Of course, not to copy Jameson, but that's probably going to be the format today. Obviously, family means the world to you. We all know that. You were in the stands when you saw your brother hoist in 24 and 25. We saw how happy you were. How natural was it for your mind to drift to the what might have be? What might be, will this ever happen? Can this happen here? Like, where were your mind, I guess, where did you allow yourself to daydream to in those moments?
Yeah, definitely that first year was just to see my best friend achieve a childhood dream that we both had was, something that I was just so happy for him and so happy for, our whole family that, all being a little piece of that and just seeing that. And, that's kind of just always been my goal every day that I've been in the NHL, that I've seen it firsthand with Matthew and been around it, that just to be a part of a Stanley Cup winning team is something that has always been my motivation, and to be here and they have the pedigree, they have every time playing them and after the game, it's all about winning. There's nothing about individuals or individual success. The sole focus and hearing it's about excellence, and they've shown the last bunch of years of how excellent of a team, and their sole focus is the Stanley Cup.
Welcome, Brady. Jordan McPherson, I'm Harold. I'm going to deviate from them on two questions directly for you. First, to piggyback off of Tim's question, from just being around Matthew and what he's talked about with the team, what are you expecting of the locker room you're joining, and just what you know about the culture they built and what they've been able to do to have the success that they have had?
Yeah, I think, it's just kind of been tied into it, just the leadership that, of course, heard it firsthand, but I feel like it's known around the league. It's probably the closest group in the league. It's just everybody's always doing stuff together and home and away, and I think just everybody, it's just knowing it's just by committee, and just talking with Bill, it's just everybody's a part of the puzzle, and everybody, their sole focus is winning, and that's something that I'm just excited to join into and help out in any way from my past experiences as a captain and different things that I've experienced throughout my hockey career. So I'm just really excited for this next chapter and being a part of this excellent group.
And secondly, you spoke highly of Ottawa in your intro. A couple months ago, right after the exit interviews, you mentioned how you wanted to be there, be with the city. The trade rumors were distraction, all that. What's changed between then and now?
Well, yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of different things that have happened throughout my time there, and for me, I think it was just time for the next chapter, and something that it wasn't an easy decision. It was something that I took a little bit more time than what's been out there to make that decision, and it was a very hard decision, and I think. There's a lot more things that go into it, but for me now, it's very thankful for what they've done for me, and not just as a player, but molded me into the human that I am today, and the person I am today, and that something I could carry into the future.
Hi, Brady. Casey Hens from Local 10. Welcome. I have two, one for you and one for Bill. First of all, just from a family aspect, obviously, for you and Matthew to be together and have your kids, start to grow up together now, and one spot for your family to come down. Just what does this mean overall for the family to be down here?
Yeah, I think that was the first time it hit last night is flying together with my two kids and Matthew's daughter. That all of us together. That was where we're like, holy cow, this is real, and this is what's going to be everyday life. So yeah, I mean that's something that was really important to have our kids grow up together, be close, and something that we find that's going to be really special for our family.
When did the idea of you and Matthew playing together start in your minds as kids, and did the Olympic experience in the Four Nations kind of say, well, this was so much fun, I really would like to do this?
I mean, I think you can always, dream about it. I don't even think it ever thought it could be a reality until we got to the Olympics. I think our only dream as a kid was just to make it to the NHL, and for us to be, lucky enough to make it. I don't even think we ever talked or considered about, what it'd be like every single day. It's just about being there and enjoying it. Then, Four Nations and Olympics, and just seeing each other was the best part every day for 3 weeks, and just being together and our families being together, and then I don't know, I guess that became a reality a couple days ago, and it's still, I don't think it's hit the both of us, and the fact that we're gonna be together every single day. I know we've talked about little routines we're going to have in the morning. I know we like to get to the rink, both of us, really early, so a little breakfast, coffee, and hanging out in the morning before guys get there. But at the end of the day, I know it's exciting, but I think it's just, for me, the excitement to be a part of this whole entire group. It's a special group, and I know, of course, always going to have that personal relationship with Matthew, and he's going to be a great guide into introducing me to a lot of things, but I know I've had some personal relationships with other guys too, and I'm just really looking forward to getting to know those guys better, and getting to be teammates with them. I'm really excited about.
Hi, Brady. David Twart from the Hockey News. I have one for both of you guys, but for you, I think as far back as AAA, you've always had the number 7 on your jersey, whether it was by itself or 27, but now you're going to wear number 8. So I'm just curious, the thought process behind it. Is your dad connected to it at all? Because I know 7 was his number.
Yeah, well, first off, I have too much respect for Cooley I would never have texted him for 7. He's been a great player in this league for a very long time. So 7's his number, and for me, it's. We were joking around. I think I definitely see myself as a single-digit guy, and it was either 2 or 8. And just Matthew and I have been joking around. Just imagine being number 2, a defenseman number, being a bruiser left winger. So I don't think that would have molded so well. So just picked 8, then kind of realized that my dad wore 8 in Atlanta, so I thought that could be a tribute to him as well. But I guess something different for this next chapter. And I've already made the mistake a couple times of signing number 7, and so it's been fun to throw an 8 on there as well.
Thanks very much, Stan. I think you covered everything I was going to say, but well done. Honey, thanks for coming here today and being with me, and thanks for agreeing to let us have this opportunity. And then for my kids, I know you'll be watching. Love you, appreciate your support. It feels to me today is kind of like it was in 2002 when I joined Anaheim. You're joining the best league in the world. and you have a feeling of gratitude. You're grateful. I mean, it's an unbelievable place. I'm a Western Canada guy. The oil has the fans like nobody, so it's a special, special thing. I have to tell you, I was enjoying retirement like you can't believe, and never thought that we'd be back in this room or coach again. My son was coaching. I get to break down lots of clips and watch lots of hockey because he's involved, so you get your juices that way, but I never thought of this. Stan kind of told you what happened when they reached out. The little caveat, though, was when I knew that I was going to get together with Connor and Leon and Zach, that was worth the drive. I got to tell you, that kind of changed everything. And, you know, Stan said it when I sat in the meeting with Jax, him and Harrison, after 3.5 hours, and we'd gone through everything, it was very evident there was an alignment there. And we went back and forth on what we had to do to get to be championship material, and you left that meeting thinking, this is pretty good. When I sat down with the players, now that was just phenomenal. So the interaction with star players who want nothing more than to win and tell you how they're willing to change and adjust to make that happen, it's pretty exciting for a coach. And I have to tell you, I went through in detail the changes that would have to be made for us to have success when it mattered. And when they said they were all in, like Stan said, the next step was to get together with the ownership group. And it's so important when you're the coach or the general manager of a National Hockey League team that you're all aligned. And what I mean by that is there's going to be lots of hard communication. But as long as that communication is straightforward and behind closed doors and respectful of one another, you have a chance to improve the organization and get better. And that's what those 4 hours were. I was so impressed. You know, I'd really like to actually thank Darryl at this time. Just the way he stood up here in the last 3 weeks, I'm so impressed. I'm so impressed with his family and what he's done that I'm thankful. So just to wrap up here, you know, obviously a lot of things have changed since I talked about in 02. It's 26 today. The league's changed, the players change, and you have to change and grow as a coach. You just have to. I know from experience what won at the Olympics in Vancouver in 2010 couldn't win in Sochi at 2014. You have to adjust. You have to get better. You have to change. And that's what that process starts here tomorrow. Is there's going to be continued collaboration with our players, but we're very excited to get going, and we're real thankful for this opportunity. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Stan. Thank you, Mike. We're going to open it up to the media. So for questions, please raise your hand, wait for the microphone, state your name, your organization, and we'll begin. So why don't we start up front here, Ryan?
Mike, welcome to Edmonton.
Thanks, Ryan.
Just wanted to go back to Columbus, or just maybe looking for some clarity there. You issued a statement after the guys on the podcast had talked about you looking at players' phones and such, and you basically said, you know, this was irresponsible of them to be suggesting there was anything wrong with it. Then within a few days, when the PA looks into things, you know, you're essentially exiting that scenario and John Davidson and saying you made players very uncomfortable. Mike, what happened in Columbus and why did you choose to walk away?
Well, I chose to walk away really straightforward, and I appreciate the question here. It was very evident before the year started. I hadn't benched anybody, I hadn't talked to anybody, I hadn't sat anybody out, and it was evident that we weren't together as a staff right from the get-go. My wife gave me a call and she said, it's time to get out of there. I'd been retired, I was pretty good at it, I got back to being retired.
So, Mike, the reporting that's out there has been about you looking through players' cell phones, asking them to share photos and such. Like, at any point, Mike, do you feel you stepped over the line with the way you handled that situation? And is there anything else that maybe we haven't heard about that happened there that resulted in you walking away?
No, to be honest with you, anytime you make anybody feel uncomfortable in your life, you should take a look at yourself and you should say, how could I do that better? And I think that's what you do as as a person is you try to always be better at what you do. The situation in Columbus, they've had a full review, and I'm thankful to NHL and NHLP for doing that. It didn't work out for us. We're excited about making it work here.
Thanks. Next question, go ahead.
Mark Spector, Sportsnet. Welcome to town. 2 years ago, Stan was sitting in that chair, and he was coming from Chicago, and he was telling us about, he had reconciled with Cal Beach. He had spent a lot of time with Sheldon Kennedy. He had several character references that told us that he deserved another chance, a second chance. So I'd ask you, Mike, what have you done over the past 2-3 years to deserve what would be a third chance?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think the big thing is just about trying to improve yourself and get better. I'm real fortunate that I have 3 adult children. We talk on a daily basis about how you improve, what you do to get better. I'm real comfortable with the group we're going to have here surrounding me. I'm real comfortable with the management team. I'm comfortable with the interaction I've had with the players and how we walk through how the interaction is going to be and how straightforward. And obviously, they're comfortable, or I wouldn't be here. And I thought that was important to have that happen so a weekend they can't be suddenly uncomfortable. So we went through that whole process to make sure we're moving ahead here. And like I said to you, I'm excited about the opportunity.
Stan, as far as, all those sort of intangibles, character, past history, all those things, given the hiring practices this team has made, and given the fact that, Vegas hires Carter Hart, puts them in goal to go right to the cup, should the Edmonton Oilers, or do the Edmonton Oilers really care what anyone thinks about the character of the people they hire?
Well, Mark, I guess I look at it a little bit differently. Like, we certainly do care about the people that we work with every day, and it matters that the people that we interact with have good experiences, and that's important to me, and I've communicated that to Mike and to DJ, and not just them, but the whole staff here. Is, there's been progress in sports over the last 10, 15 years to where positive progress, to where you have to understand what not just makes the athletes tick, but also the staff that supports those athletes. We're all in this together. We're a big family, and there's a trust level that is important here, that I need to trust Mike that he's going to operate that way, and he needs to trust me that we're going to do the same thing with everyone that we interact with. So it's important what we do from this point forward, and I understand the questions that you're asking. There's going to be people wondering. We can't change the past, and really what matters is our actions, not so much. I mean, our words matter as well, but I think everyone here who's skeptical, they want to see what actually happens and how we interact with our players, and that matters to me. And we've had great conversations, been very open, clear, explicit about what we expect. There's nothing wrong with holding players accountable for their performance, but also doing it in a way that's respectful, and that's what we expect here. So, I'm excited about where we're headed. I think Mike's got an incredible knowledge of the game of hockey, but also as you go through experiences like we all have, you grow from them. I mean, hopefully you do. I believe in talking to Mike at length that you recognize how you can operate differently moving forward. So, it's exciting to think of those possibilities.
Can we get that turned off, please? Thank you. We'll go up front here to Bob.
Bob Stauffer, Oilers Radio Network. This question's for Mike. Mike, it's a players' league, and you alluded to it a bit, but can you perhaps shed some insight just in terms of the conversation that you specifically had with Connor, Leon, and Zach, and maybe a bit about what you sort of reinforced from your perspective, what you were looking for, because I'm going to assume that it was a fairly animated conversation. They had questions for you, but you also had some questions for them.
Well, 100%, Bob. Thanks for the question. I mean, obviously, when you're sitting with those players, number one, you're having fun, but they've played the game long enough. and they're good enough players, they have opinions about how things should be. I'm fortunate as a coach, I've had lots of success, and I have thoughts on how things have to be, and we discussed them in detail. We broke down what was going on in the playoffs. We walked through the clips. We walked through how it would be done here and how it's going to be done moving ahead. And we talked about Leon, Connor, Zach Hyman, and the rest of this leadership group want to get better. And that's what they've asked of me. And they've told me, we have to be better, and we expect you to make us better. And I said, well, that's great to talk about in June. When camp starts and you're making a guy do things, you might not be so happy. And they said, no, that's not how it's going to be. We're all committed all in on winning. And obviously in that time period, we had gone through enough things and talked about enough things that they felt comfortable with the process, or I wouldn't be here. And I was very clear to them, unless you're 100% all in on Mike Babcock, I have no interest in being the coach.
Mike, do you feel that about the gap between being on a bench? Like, do you feel like, hey, I got to get moving again, or how do you look at the time away?
Well, I had a few drinks with Q there at All-Star break, him and his wife, my wife, and I asked him exactly the same thing, and he said, well, the first exhibition game, you kind of figure out how to run the bench again, and then you get rolling. So, you know, like Stan said, I spent a year at the University of Saskatchewan hiring their next coach, and ended up with my son. I've done that, but then since that time, my son's been in the National Hockey League, either with DJ in Ottawa or St. Louis, or then in Anaheim. And so you're watching NHL games, breaking them down, talking about it all the time. Anyway, you're pretty current. Now my skating, you know, like, you're going to buy me some new skates. I might have to get out there a little bit and take a twirl before camp, or someone could be going down and probably be me.
I'd just like to jump in. Just one, you know, unfortunately, Jimmy Hiller was let go in LA, and I was given the opportunity to take over. And the first person I called right away was Mike. I know that he follows the game. You know, I gave him a couple projects. It was good to give him some stuff to do and tell him to have a timeline. But I can tell you, just today, just our first interaction with the staff in the back room, and what we went over, it's not what I think works. It's not what he thinks works. It's what the league says works by numbers. And that was the first thing we did, is systems. Who's the best at it? Why are they the best at it? Is our personnel at that level to do it that way, or do we got to look another way? And just the way it ran, you know, it flipped the clock back real quick, 10 years. But I would have no doubt in my mind, and I wouldn't have come here, you know, when Mike told me that the players, how bad they want to win, and I as well am craving that, is to win in the National Hockey League and to win a Stanley Cup, and that's why I'm here. I'm going to do everything, you know, I can. I think I'm going to coach close to my 1,000th game this year in the National Hockey League, and whatever Mike's missed out on, I'm sure I'll fill him in quick, and then he'll take back over about a second later.
Thank you, DJ. We'll go to the front here, Jason.
Jason Greger, Sports 1440. Mike, you mentioned that it's important for you, respect in conversations and closed doors, and you said you talked to the players and how they got to be full in on Mike Babcock. Well, part of Mike Babcock's history from a lot of former players is at a time you weren't necessarily respectful to them and how you interacted with them. So how can you change that side of you where you can be hard on players but not be a dick?
I think that's a great question. Being hard on people, a lot of times being hard on them is confused with telling the truth. I think when a kid sits at your kitchen table and it's one of your children and they ask you a question, you should tell them the truth. That's called love. Sometimes the truth is hard for them. No matter what happens when you coach, when you scratch people, when you sit them out, when they're at the end of your career and you don't play them, it's hard for them for sure. You try to do that as respectfully as you can. Why? Because you think you're a good human being and that's the right thing to do. Sometimes it's not perceived that way. But I think the other thing is, and I thought Stan said it great, anytime you're out of something and you sit back and you have perspective, you're allowed to grow as a human being. You're allowed to get better. And I think that's what this league's all about, is getting better. The other thing I said, and then I'd reiterate, is my children are at the age in their careers, they got an opinion on everything. And they sure got an opinion on their dad and what he says and his tone and how to be respectful. I actually don't think my intentions are wrong that often. I think sometimes my tone is for sure, and we have to work at that. What I've done by hiring DJ, Farley's been with me before, TD Force and I have been together since '93 in Spokane. We're surrounded by people that are going to make you accountable, make you better. They're not afraid of you. They've worked with you. They're friends of yours, but they also know what's right. And I think that's our job, right from the ownership to the management team, through the coaching staff, through the players, is to make each other better, and that's what we're going to do.